What if somebody made an electric scooter that cost the same as a 9-bot Max, but went twice as fast and had a battery 2.5 times as large? Well, somebody did. It's real. We tested it. Watch this review.
This is the Teewing GT2 and GT4 from the same brand that brought us the Teewing Mars XTR, the fastest electric scooter to ever climb the ESG test hill. Not only are these the fastest single motor scooters we've ever tested under $1,000, but they're just the fastest outright because they beat all the dual motor scooters too. In fact, the $650 one beat all the dual motor scooters under $1,000. For example, the GT2 is $649 and pushes 800 watts of nominal power from a single rear motor and 1200 watts of peak power. It's got a battery 30% bigger than the one in the 9-bot Max G2, and it's got 10.5-inch tubeless tires, plus a claimed top speed of 31 miles per hour, but we're gonna test that in a minute. The GT4 spec is even more bonkers, with 1500 watts of nominal power from the rear motor and 2400 watts of peak power, a battery that's 2.2 times as big as the one in the 9-bot Max, 11-inch tubeless tires, and a claimed top speed of 43 miles per hour. Plus, they both got full suspension and touchscreen displays. Welcome back to Electric Scooter Guide. I'm Paul Somerville, and for the last 5 years, I've spent over 10,000 hours riding, testing, and reviewing electric scooters. And in this review, we're going to test the GT2 and GT4's top speed and range, check out their hill climbing ability, and we'll also cover a few of the trade-offs you need to know about. Let's see what they're like right out of the box, and then we'll go for a speed run to see if they can really hit those specified top speeds. We're back on day one with the Teewing GT2 and GT4. I'm going to open up the smaller GT2 first. Ooh, okay. Got tools and fasteners. Owner's manual. Looks like we get to put the fender on ourselves. Oh, look at this touch. They put a rubber cover over the bottom of the stem. Never seen that before. It's got a 2-amp charger. There it is. Okay, so this is something I've definitely never seen before. It's like a half twist throttle with a stubby little grip. I have to see how that feels when I'm out riding. We'll put the fender on. All right, let's turn it on. Oh, there it goes. Oh wow, it's got their logo there. Nice big display, good contrast. Looks like we're almost fully charged, and we're in sport mode. Cool. All right, let's check the weight and then find out how fast it spins up in each of the riding modes. It's lighter than it looks. 57.0 pounds. Now we're gonna check out the top speed in each of the modes. One of the things I noticed right away at the cockpit is there are very few buttons here. You get a power button, turn signals, and a horn in the throttle, and that's it. But when you look on the dash, you see there's something more. You've got a touch screen, so you can turn the lights on right here. You get your modes here, so you can go from eco to sport to race. And then set, this one just seems to change it from miles to kilometers, but who knows, maybe it does other things too. We'll find out later. But right now, let's check out the modes. In eco mode, top speed, 9 miles per hour. In sport mode, top speed is 16. And in race mode, it'll go up to an indicated 33, 34 miles per hour. But that's just the indicated top speed. We'll find out the true top speed when we take it out for a speed run. So I just found another trick. If you hold the set button down, you can switch from non-zero start to zero start. Oh wait, but there's more. If you hold the mode button down, you can turn on cruise control. There it is. And of course to exit, hit the throttle or the brakes and it pops out. The GT2 has a really different build style all around. It uses a lot of sheet metal and therefore has like a lot of square surfaces. And even the swing arms are a little unusual. They're flat metal with a brace running up the backside. Oh, I can tell right away this is a heavier scooter. And it's double boxed. Another 2-amp charger. These are both, you know, very powerful single motor scooters. So I thought what we would get is two scooters that look identical but have different batteries and different size motors and controllers. But that's not the case. This stem is completely different. All right, let's turn it on. We got an ignition key. There we go. Okay, we're on. Let's switch from kilometers to miles. Let's check out the lights. Modes. So 3 modes like the other one. All right, let's check the weights and see how fast the GT4 goes in each of its modes. 85.6 pounds. It's the second heaviest single motor scooter we've ever tested behind the Segway GT1. First, I'm gonna use what I learned from the GT2 and hold down the set button until 0 star turns on. All right, let's check it out. 16 miles per hour in eco mode, 29 miles per hour in sport mode, and 52 miles per hour in race mode. Let's go speed test.
It's time for the top speed run on the Teewing GT2 and GT4. And if these scooters can come anywhere near what their spec sheets say they can do, they're gonna be some of the fastest single motor scooters we've ever tested. But there's only one way to find out. Let's go. Here's the top speed run on the Teewing GT2. I'm in race mode, tires are aired up, batteries charged up. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, go. That was actually a pretty mellow launch. Well, let's see how fast this goes. 29, okay, 28, we're getting there. 29, 30, 31, 33. And I'm reading this off the dashboard. Might be different on the screen in the bottom right corner. Okay, we're hanging at 33 in the eastbound direction. There's not much wind today, but we always do it in 2 directions to cancel out the effect of any headwind or tailwind. Okay, here we go. Top speed run of the Teewing GT4. Will this be the fastest single motor scooter ever? Let's find out. 3, 2, 1, go! Oh man, this feels like a dual motor scooter. Okay, 25 already. Oh my gosh. 30. 40, I'm over 40. Now this is indicated coming off my screen. It might be different in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. Okay, 45. We're holding pretty steady at 45. And this is the faster of the 2 directions. I'm going with the wind right now. Little flickers of 46, 47. Think that is it. All right, we'll call it. Woo! That is a fast single motor. So, top speed per dollar, the GT2 and GT4 just destroyed absolutely everything. Not just single motor scooters, but dual motor scooters too. You've got to see the data. You got to see this. Okay, so this is top speed versus price for everything. This is dual motor, single motor, everything. And you can see the Teewing GT2 over here, 29.5 miles per hour for $700. And then you've got the GT4, 42.3 miles per hour for $949. And so a lot of you are like looking for the Segway GT1 in this plot, right? It's way over here, even at a deep discount. You know, that only went 34.5 miles per hour. It's very powerful, but it's actually not that fast. So amazing. Amazing. I had to make a new chart. This thing was off the edge of the graph, literally, when I tried to plot this thing just now.
The 0 to 15 times for both scooters are absolutely outstanding, but the 0 to 30 graph really tells the story here. I mean, at first I thought there was something wrong with it because no other scooters showed up, but the fact is that we've done 89 top speed runs at this point, 89 different scooters, and these 2 are the only scooters we've tested that cost less than $1,000 that even have 0 to 30 times. So the GT2 and GT4 beat everything for top speed per dollar, but can they keep up with the dual motor scooters up the ESG test hill? Let's find out. Okay, up first is the GT2. I've got it in race mode. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, 9 miles per hour. Kind of holding steady. Feels like it's speeding up just a little bit. There we go, 10 miles an hour. And that's it. All right, it's time for the hill climb test on the Teewing GT4. We're in race mode. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh man, this thing goes for a single motor scooter. Accelerating all the way up. We're at 20 miles per hour. Oh, okay, that's it. Nice.
The GT2's hill climbing is good, but it's not as amazing as its top speed. On our 10% grade test hill, it just beat out the similarly priced KQi3 Pro. The GT4, on the other hand, absolutely conquered the test hill, being edged out only by the Varla Pegasus, which is dual motor, and then the Segway GT3 Pro that we just tested, but that one gets an asterisk because it only outclimbs it when you're in boost mode, and boost mode takes like 3 steps to get into and then expires after about 20 seconds. All right, let's get into the detailed features of both scooters. I'm gonna start out with battery size. We're gonna throw a chart up here so you can just see how unusually large the batteries are in both of these scooters relative to the prices. But the surprising thing
is they don't even use generic cells. They use EVE cells, which are the same ones Apollo uses. You should look them up because they're right up there with like Samsung and LG cells. But one of the downsides of having a really big battery is you get longer charging times. The official charging times are 8 to 10 hours on the GT2 and 10 to 12 on the GT4. And there's only one charge port. So unless you can find a fast charger that's compatible, you're kind of stuck with those charging times. But you know, if bolting the biggest battery to the biggest motors and the biggest controllers were all it took to make a great scooter, you know, it'd be pretty easy. But you have to get a bunch of other stuff right to make a scooter that's nice to ride. Like you have to have the right steering angle if you're gonna go fast and have good stability. And they did that. And you have to have good suspension for it to be comfortable to ride, and they did that. And it really helps when you're going fast to have bigger than usual tires, and they did that too. The GT2 has tubeless 10.5-inch diameter tires, and the GT4 has tubeless 11-inch tires. Neither of them are self-sealing, but it's really easy if you want to add some sealant yourself. And for that, we recommend Armadillos. It's like slime, but it's specifically made for scooters, and it's actually keeping the air in one of the tires of my car right now. So I should point out that the GT4 has a key switch where the GT2 doesn't. And then one party trick that they both have is the touchscreen, which you saw a little bit about earlier. And something I'm super curious about right now, which I have not tested yet, I don't know how this is gonna go, is how does the touchscreen work when you get it wet? Can you still touch it or not? And let's find out. If you're out riding in the rain and you wanna change modes, it's still gonna work. They're nice looking displays, but they're not the brightest. I didn't have any trouble reading like the speed or the battery meter while I was out riding, but I did have some trouble just now locating where the touchscreen buttons are because they're less bright than everything else on the display. Both scooters have sort of motorcycle style turn signal switches, but you only see them from the back of the scooter. They don't beep to let you know they're on, but there is a little indicator at the corner of the screen, and it's kind of hard to see. And both have kind of a beepy little horn that comes from inside the dash. The stem latch is easy to use, and there's one more security latch right here, but you know, in 2024, it feels like there should be kind of one more latch right here before this one comes open. And then once you're folded, it has a really unusual way of attaching the stem to the deck, and that's you take this strap right here and kind of wrap it around the taillight, and that's your stem to deck latch. It's not the most comfortable thing to pick up because of the way the stem is constructed, but that construction gives the stem a really stiff, solid feel. The decks of these scooters aren't that big relative to the size of the scooters, but the way the footrest is set up, it's huge and it's relatively flat, so you actually end up with quite a bit of room. All right, well, now it's time to range test the GT2 and GT4. GT2 is up first, and when I get down to 50% battery, I'll check in and tell you what it's like to ride. All right, I'm at 50% battery on the GT2, so let's talk about what it's like to ride. And I'm gonna go into more detail on the GT4, so here I'm mostly gonna talk about what's different on the GT2 versus GT4. And let's start in the cockpit. I mean, it's the same. The dash, the throttle, the brakes, almost everything you can see here is the same with one difference. And that is this little red flag right here. They both have it, but this one rattles and it bugs me. It looks kind of cool, but if you hear a little rattling sound, the scooter is dead silent. And that's what's actually kind of so extra annoying about this red thing rattling is the whole scooter feels super solid and doesn't rattle, except for that one part. So yeah, probably easy to fix, but there you go. So these are very different scooters. I mean, they look a lot alike, but they ride so differently. The GT2 is like super chill on the throttle. There's no mistaking that this is a single motor electric scooter. I mean, it's a fast single motor with huge top speed for a single motor and for its price, but the throttle response is pretty mellow. So, you know, anybody's gonna be able to ride this. In fact, let's try out the different riding modes. So I'm in eco mode right now, and it is slow. I mean, it's, you know, it's going 11 miles an hour. It's faster than some scooters go in eco mode, but it's this hard to tell when the throttle is on or not. So let's skip that. Let's go to sport mode. That feels more like it. Now, this feels like a mode I would actually ride in, maxing out at, what, 16 miles per hour? I felt like I was hitting 18 there for a second. And let's see what it's like from a dead stop here too. Okay, super chill taking off just now. And, you know, 18, 17, 16 miles per hour top speed right in there. You know, pretty mellow. I think, for me, this is a scooter I think I just would ride in race mode all the time because that's where the fun is. All right, let's try it from a stop in race mode. See, even in race mode, I just like full throttle, normal acceleration, not arm yanking, easy to ride. But, you know, it gets going. I'm going 25, and, you know, we saw the top speed earlier. So it moves pretty well once you get moving, but it's nothing like the GT4. The GT4 is kind of an arm yanker. It really does feel like a dual motor electric scooter most of the time. And this just doesn't. But on the flip side, this feels a lot lighter. This is more nimble. I can pull the front end up like that. It feels a little more tossable back and forth. It's definitely easier to load into a car. And of course, it's less expensive. The deck also feels pretty similar. This is actually even smaller. I think than the GT4, my rear foot's pretty much always gonna be up on the back platform there. Another difference is the tires. The GT4 has these huge wide tires. These are narrower and they are knobbier. The GT4 has kind of road tires. This has off-road or sort of you know, hybrid off-road tires. They're not that noisy though. You can hear them. They're pretty quiet and they feel pretty good on the road. But I bet this would be a lot of fun to toss around in the dirt. Okay, well that's kind of it for the differences between the ride quality of the GT2 and the GT4. More on the GT4 in a minute. And I'll check back in with you at the end of the GT2 range test, and we'll see how far it went. All right, I'm showing 22 miles on the odometer. I've reached the very end of the range test on the GT2. Next up is the GT4, and then of course we'll check the data logger for both and find out how far they both really went. Okay, I'm halfway through the range test on the GT4, so it's time to give you some riding impressions. And I can tell I'm halfway done because I've got 5 out of 10 bars. And let me start off with that. I love that. Each bar is 10%. I don't have to do any math. You know, so this dash, while I'm here, it's not the brightest. It's big. You can read everything, but it's not as beautiful outdoors as it is indoors, but it does work. I've never, you know, not been able to read it. Let's start off by seeing what it's like in each of the modes: Eco, Sport, and Race. Okay, Eco. Wow, that is super eco. It is, wow, that's slow. And very slow acceleration. I don't think I would ride in this mode. Okay, double click over here. You'll notice I just double clicked the power button to do this. You can use a touchscreen or you can double click the power button, which is nice because it's right over here. I don't want to reach to the middle to do this. Okay, so now in sport mode, yeah, it feels kind of sporty. This feels like, you know, 9 Max G2, maybe a little sportier than that. But I'm limiting out. I'm going uphill 21 miles an hour. That's pretty good. Mode 3, which is race mode. Let me pull over and like just do a start and see what that feels like. Okay, so here we go. I'm in 0 start, so I'm not going to kick off at all. And you know, it's actually pretty chill. Like I just mashed it and it's like not trying to wheelie. It's not trying to take off really hard. But you know, once you're rolling, like even if you're going 30 miles per hour and you give it some throttle, it goes. It's got some grunt. It's so weird because it's, you know, it's a single motor scooter, but with the power of many dual motor scooters, but it doesn't ride like a dual motor scooter. It does ride like a big single, which is just, you know, a bit more progressive, smoother, easier to ride, honestly. The other thing that is kind of amazing about this scooter is the handling, as I go around a corner. And that comes from these shocks. These shocks are way better than they should be on a $950 scooter. I mean, it shouldn't even have shocks on a $950 scooter of this power level and this battery size. But they're super good. They're not, you know, adjustable for rebound, but they are for preload. And this damping is really good. What makes it feel even better is the front wheel is really light, you know, compared to a normal dual motor scooter where the front motor weighs like, I don't know, 10, 15 pounds. This one weighs like a couple pounds. And so that gives you less unsprung weight and way better handling. There's not a ton of features. There's no app. There are no P settings that I can find anywhere. It's got a lot of fasteners on it, which is, you know, is not awesome. But on the flip side, right now, at this moment, this GT4 feels absolutely rock solid. The stem feels great. The suspension feels great. The swing arms, like all of it feels amazing, but it's simple. You know, there's not a whole lot going on. It's got a key, that's, you know, and a little extra. And, but the things that it has just really work, like these bars, they pull back, which I love. I love the shape of the bars. The grips are, you know, not fancy. They don't clamp or anything, but they're really soft and rubbery. They feel really good. It's a half grip over here, which is a little odd. And that's because it's kind of got like a half twist throttle. It's not the best as a twist throttle, but you could use it that way. But I mostly use the thumb. But none of the components feel high end. I mean, this is very plasticky over here. There's no rubber on the grip here, but I don't really notice it when I'm riding around. It feels pretty okay. But when if you stand still and kind of pick the scooter apart, it looks like, some of the construction feels less expensive. I mean, the swing arms are made out of flat pieces of aluminum that have been bent and then bolted to other pieces of aluminum, but it all works. And speaking of the front end, let me see if I can get a shot of this. All right, I'm gonna lean over the front tire. Can you see that? Look how fat that tire is. It is super fat. These look just like the ones that are on the Nami, but they feel wider to me for some reason. Maybe it's a wider rim. Anyway, they feel really good. Like the GT2, the deck is kind of small. You can see right here, it feels even smaller because this scooter has a lot of rake, which makes it very stable at speed, but puts the bars back over the deck a little bit and takes up some of the front space. But then again, you gain it at the back because this foot platform is enormous and it's relatively flat. It just kind of feels like an extension of the deck. I end up using it pretty much all the time. That's it for now. We'll catch up at the end of the range test for the GT4. So the battery gauge is dropping kind of fast in the second half. I'm at 26 miles. 2 bars, and when it hit 2 bars, they both turned red. We'll see how long this drags out though. Sometimes it keeps going longer than you think. All right, the GT4 is showing 34 miles on the odometer, and we've reached the very end of the battery. Oh, that's it. Let's go check the data logger to see what the official numbers are for both the GT2 and GT4. The GT2 covered a respectable 22.7 miles on the hilly ESG range test course, running at a pace that you'd usually expect from a dual motor scooter. The GT4 went an ESG official 34.5 miles, beating every scooter we've range tested at this price or below. The crazy thing about the range for both of these scooters is they would have gone even further if they weren't so dang fast. Let's test the brakes. Both scooters come with mechanical disc brakes front and rear, and stopping distances from 15 miles per hour were exceptional. The GT2 and GT4 use smaller rotors, so it takes a firm grip to get the most out of the brakes, but that also means they're less likely to lock up or accidentally put you over the handlebars. For pros and cons, obviously the performance and range per dollar are a huge pro for both of these, but surprisingly, ride quality ended up being a pro as well, despite the fact that these both kind of look like older scooters. The ride quality is really good, and the GT4 in particular. These scooters aren't magic. There are some trade-offs you need to know about. I mean, you get twice the speed of a 9 Max, but what don't you get for the price? There's no app, there's no swag lights, and these scooters are not light. At 57 pounds for the GT2 and 85.6 pounds for the GT4. Oh, but it's forgivable because most of that weight is made up of batteries. So who are these two scooters for? Well, really fast single motor scooters are great as sort of car replacement style transportation because they're really easy to ride, but they're gonna get you across town faster than a car. And as to, who should get the GT2 and who should get the GT4, I truly like both of these scooters, but if you can afford it and you don't need to carry it upstairs every day, I highly recommend the GT4. It's just an unbelievable amount of performance and range per dollar. On the other hand, the GT2 is way easier to carry upstairs and has a rare combination of being really fast, but also having a throttle response that's as smooth as the one on the 9 Max G2, so it's probably a better choice for brand new riders. For the best price on the GT4, GT2, and all of the Teewing scooters, click the links in this video's description and we'll pin it in the first comment down below as well. Clicking the links costs you nothing, but it helps support the research and testing that goes into making reviews like this one. I'm Paul from Electric Scooter Guide. Don't ride like me, but do always remember to wear a helmet.